on the beat.
Yeah, the real shop talk. Just come and take a listen. Some grown men with unbiased and honest opinions, and with no agendas, so you just gotta check it. Talking love and life from a male perspective. We keep it authentic, real, no filter. Leave a comment, be part of the show. We here to give you 5 gentlemen's views about manhood, no doubt. This the show you've been needing, yeah, it's the real shop talk. Let's go.
Hey, everybody. We are back. It's another Monday at 8 p.m. It's the Real Shop Talk, and we are live. First and foremost, I want to thank you guys for coming back every week. And those of you that are here for the first time, we welcome you. We are a show comprised of 5 gentlemen. We are missing one tonight. Tony Massey is out. He had a family emergency, so we're praying for him that things will get better. So we'll talk about how we're going to do the show tonight in a second. But I do want to say that if you are here for the first time, it's a show where we have 5 gentlemen, 5 grown men, no agendas, but a mission to grow our communities, to grow our families, and to do better. Basically, we want to be able to look at ourselves and have you see the men in your life in us, and really lead by example. So what I want to do first is I want to go. Looks like Rick disappeared for a second here, but hopefully he'll be back. What I want to do is I want to very quickly, and actually let me do this. Let me put up the website at the bottom. If you go to realshoptalk.net, you can find all of our social media links. You can find all of our pages on Instagram to follow our individual brands, as well as the Real Shop Talk page, the page will route you to our YouTube, where you can actually go subscribe, because we want you to subscribe. We want you to put the thumbs up if you like what you hear, and hit that bell to get the notifications so you don't have to worry about when we're going live. Your phone will have that pop up for you. So make sure you do that. We're trying to always fight against the algorithms, grow our following, and get the word out here about what we're doing. So first thing I want to do is kind of just go around the room very quickly, so everybody can introduce themselves, and then we're going to talk about how we're going to do this show tonight. Let me get Rick back up here real quick. So I'm just going to go around. First, my name is Derek Jones, and I am the host of the Relationship Gumbo podcast. I see your message, Tony. I got it. Cool. We are, and I'll pivot to that message real quick. We just hit 200 followers, so we're on the quest to get 200. Well, we really on the quest to get as many as we can get, but let's get 200 more, guys. Send this to your friends, your family, have them subscribe. The content is amazing. You can go back and look at the older episodes and get prepared for the new ones. So I think I was almost finished my introduction, but I am a certified life and relationship coach, host of the Relationship Gumbo podcast, and I'm just here to share what I have to share on this topic tonight. It's going to be interesting. We're talking about married versus single, but we got a little pivot that we're doing tonight. So you guys just stay tuned. I'm going to tell you how that's going to go. So I'm going to pass the mic over to John Singletary.
Hey, what's going on, good people? I'm John Singletary, the host of the Help Myself podcast, and one of the proud brothers of the Real Shop Talk, man. And we are just excited to be able to bring you quality content on Monday nights. What's up, man? So, we do have to do a pivot, man. We definitely want to ask y'all to, send all the prayers and positive energy out to our brother, Tony Massey. And we're gonna represent him well. He's gonna be proud of us. So I'm gonna pass it on down. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna go to the OG who's directly below me.
Let me unmute myself first. Act like I know what I'm doing with technology. I'm Tony Watts, host of Triumphant TV, which is a brand of Triumphant Media Group, along with Monday Wake Up. So we're just here to have fun. Again, we all support and stand behind our brother Tony Massey. In his absence, we're going to make you smile, son. I hope you have an opportunity to see what we're doing. And so I'm going to hand it over to the guy who's, he's he's over here. He's over here. You see that king on his bed because he's a king. Mr. Gunther Man. Gunther Man. Let's go, baby.
What's up, guys? How's it going? I am Gunther Man. I am the host of the Gunther Man Show every Thursday night at 7:30 on Instagram Live at Rick Colvin Gunther Jr. Of course, once again, married versus single. It's supposed to be something bigger, but we're gonna pivot and we're gonna work with what we got, because we're all about dropping diamonds, dropping jewels, dropping something that you can hold fast to and run with, so you could develop some type of mindset towards staying single or being married. All right, so let's do it. Tonight's the night.
All right, guys, so this is what we're going to do. And I do want to say this. I see y'all coming in. I see the numbers going up. It's who's watching. I need for y'all to let us know that you're here. Tell us where you're from. Don't be afraid to comment. We love the comments. We need to see that you're here. We want you to engage with us. If you have any questions or comments during the show, make sure that you put them in there and we will address them as we go. So this is what we're doing tonight. We originally had it slated to do a versus show. We had Team Married and we had Team Single, and we was gonna go at it as far as just seeing, lightly touching on why one side may be better than the other, depending on how you, what your decisions are. And we were going to have a little bit of fun with that. But in the absence of Tony Massey tonight, we're going to pivot slightly. We're not going to do a versus in a traditional sense. What we're going to do is we're going to speak to married and single topics and just give you our opinions based on things that we hear out in the internet verse and in our regular everyday lives. Things that bother me, that may bother you, some things that you may identify with. We're just going to give our honest opinions. I have a list of questions here, and I'm just going to pull them at random. The guys don't necessarily know what I'm going to ask, so this is going to be real organic responses. And in the audience, if you feel like you want to comment on these questions as well, feel free. I see LaShawn Daniel Drew says Team Single in the house. So, yeah, tell us what team you are. And we're going to have fun with it. It's not going to look like how we planned it, but it's going to be amazing because the content is going to be something that you can take home with you and kind of ponder. So at random, I'm going to pick, well, let's preface it with this. The reason why we pivoted this way is we also know that the environment that we're living in now in 2022, there's a shift, right? We went from eras where, for most people, marriage was the goal. Now, not so much. And so not only have we started to see a shift, but now there seems to be, even between men and women, this gender war, this men versus women thing that's going on, that's happening during the time that we're having this shift at the same time. So it's kind of like a weird space that we're in. So what I want to do is I want to ask a couple of questions starting with that narrative. So let me see here. Let me see where I want to go. So let's start with this. Just generally speaking, I'm going to ask you guys, do you think that and I know that this isn't everybody, but do you think that there's an effort societally to kind of push against, or is there, like, I think on the line, they'll say there's a war against marriage. There's a push for people not to go in that direction. Do you feel that push? Are you aware of that push? What do you think about that? And anybody can come off mic.
Yeah, I could jump in with that one. I don't think that there is so much a push about people coming together. I think the push is really against, how do you define it? How do you define what the coming together of two people are? I think there's always going to be, whether you're single or married, you want to be connected to someone. You want it. You want the feeling of someone getting to know the inner you getting to know the inner part of someone else. And those who choose not to go in that direction, I'm sure they'll have a plethora of reasons or situations that they've been through that have shifted their mind away from that narrative. But at the core being of an individual, we have been designed to be connected to people. That's how we've been designed. If those who believe in a higher power, God wanted fellowship with mankind. It started with fellowship. And we as human beings want that fellowship. We want that feeling of connection. So yes, I think how it's being defined as what do you call two people coming together, that's where the pushback is. But as far as the desire to be with someone or to have someone in your life, even if it's just temporary based on how you grew up or what traumas you've been through, but the desire to be seen, to be valued, to feel safe, to have someone else helping you journey along the way, that desire is always going to be there. That's right. Support, the feeling of being supported, genuinely supported, cheered on. Like when a good thing happens in your life, if you have no one that has kind of journeyed a little bit with you, who do you get to celebrate it with? It's a good thing if you don't have someone to say, hey, what up? That excellent job. Great job. What's up with that? Nice. I love how you did this and this and that and how you brought it all together. So isolation is what you're looking, solitude. I know solitude is good after a breakup. It's good to kind of step back out of the picture and kind of get back to the place where you're finding your own joy, where you're finding your own happiness, where you're finding your own peace. But as far as marriage is concerned, I think the push is always against the defining of it.
You're mute.
Just for I'm gonna reiterate the question just for people that are coming in. I see the numbers are going up. The question on the floor is: do you think that do you feel in your environment and society, do you feel like there's a push for people to really like push against people? Like if somebody says, you know, I'm going to get married, and all your friends are like, man, why are you doing that? Like, why would you ever do that? Do you feel that, or do you think that that's just something that people are just saying on the internet and it's just catching a little bit of steam?
Well, I personally think it's something that's being said on the internet and it's catching steam. That whole squeaky wheel, you know, gets the oil. I think generally, overall, people want to be married. People want to be in a relationship. They want to have somebody to come home to and to comfort them. I think that, and I'm going to say it. I think that the people who live in that narrative, and it's going to sound harsh, but hey, are cowards. They have gone through a lot of trauma. They've gone through a lot of ups and downs of what they think relationships should look like, and they can't really figure it out. So when you make a statement, and this is the statement that I'm hearing, what benefit is a relationship for me? Like if I get married, what's my benefit as a man? Like, what do you mean? What's my benefit? My benefit is the future generation of our lineages. That's the benefit. If you go into something looking like how are you going to serve me, then you're going in wrong, because it's the service of the other person that's important. It's not the service of how they're going to serve you. So this whole narrative that, you know, the partner has to bring something to the table, the partner has to do this, that, and the other, and you have to basically worship me, and I will always say that, you have to worship me, you're going to get confused about what this whole thing is about. You're not going to be ready to do the work. And on the flip side, and I kind of blame, I don't really blame, but the older generation really didn't have context to say this is work, right? Everybody grew up with the fairy tale, you know, the prince finds the princess and they lived happily ever after. No, they had arguments, they had fights. He slept in the dungeon, she slept on you know, on the top of the castle. Like it's work here. There's no happily ever after. There's happy right now. It's work, continuous work. If you're not ready to put in that work, please stay away from this area. Stay away from all relationships, actually, if you're not ready to do the work.
Not the dungeon, man. The dungeon in the top of the castle. Love it. I love it. No, I couldn't agree more with what Tony Watts said. You know, the squeaky wheel gets the oil. So the people that have time to complain, you know, they making more noise. Meanwhile, people in fulfilling relationships, marriages, and the sort, they're working on them. So they don't have enough time to be, you know, and don't get me wrong, there's some extraordinary people that happens to be their platform, you know, like our brother Derek and, you know, Tony Massey, you know, that's a platform and they're in that space. But, you know, people that aren't in a relationship probably have a little more time to be in these spaces asking questions about relationships than somebody who is actually in one doing the work to make it successful. And so that's one of the things we don't spotlight. And then another thing is I think, and again, like I say, everything that Tony Watts said, totally agree with Gunner, man. You have to consider the fact that we're getting to a point where people are exploring boundaries. They're exploring themselves. You know, I don't mean to just continue to go back to this, but you got to understand that you've got sets of people who didn't have the same sets of rights within relationships that are now exploring the ability to choose and the ability to see how their life is supposed to look. And so obviously there's always turmoil in the system when you get new players involved. And so the system was set up to benefit men. You know, women were property. You would get married to improve your lot in life if you were a person of means, you know, and we're not to say that that's gone. We still we still see it happening both ways. But you know, when we get to this point of again, like people are starting to really ask the question: is it something I really want? Do I really like this person this way? So I think we're seeing a you know, a good mix of a lot of things. So there are, you know, there's some loud voices that are against it, but I think we're seeing a lot of things happen.
Yeah, y'all basically said everything I was gonna say. But I will say this. You know, when you listen to this, like John, like everybody was saying, the squeaky wheel, and everybody just basically, you know, it's a lot of it's single people basically trying to tell other people how to be married. And it's an interesting dynamic that I'm seeing happening, because here's the thing, right? There's a lot of shifts going on in the relationship space, probably over the past decade or so, where, like to John's point, you know, the women, and not just in the past decade, but I feel like because we have social media, a lot of it's being a lot more polarized now. People that you normally wouldn't hear their voice, everybody has a comment section now, and they got, you know, they can go on TikTok and put something up for 3 minutes and get, you know, 90,000 people to go watch it. But I think that what I will do is I will pivot into the next question as a part of my answer so that we can kind of keep this thing moving. It's disheartening to me, not just because I'm married, but because a lot of people are vehemently trying to convince people that it's not even an option anymore. Like you shouldn't even look at it at all. And that's the part that's disheartening. I think that there's space for people to choose what they feel like is best for them without having to kind of push marriage or being single in the mud, right? So to pivot to the next question is, and these are not in any, you know, it's not in any kind of like storybook chronological order where we put all of them together. This is going to make sense at the end. I'm pulling them at random. This next thing I want to talk about, and I'm going to ask this question: have you experienced this personally, and how do you feel about it in general? And I think it happened more from those of us, like the baby boomers into Gen X, millennials a little bit, but single shaming. You know how when you go to the family event and they're like, oh, you're not married yet? Where your girlfriend? You still single? Has anybody experienced? Well, I can kind of already answer that question, but have we experienced this? You know, once you get to, they was doing this when we was like in our 20s, like early. But what do you think about that? Is it something, is it, I know ultimately our families want to see us happy, but are there any you think there are any negative effects for people psychologically that go through this? Go ahead, John. I see your face.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's just man. So when I married LJ's mom, I got married at 27, and which is not that late, but man, from like 22 to about 26 until we really started dating, folks used to be on me. When you get married, you know, when you gonna start a family, this, that, and the other. And yeah, I've been single for quite a while now. And you know, I think it translates more like, you ain't got a girlfriend yet, you ain't with somebody yet. And I'm like, yo, that is like the totality of me as a person. Like that is so. And then GJ makes a incredible one. Like if I feel that way, I can only imagine how women feel with that question, as if, you know, that is the penultimate indicator of your worth as a person. You know, that is a damaging question. You know, I always laugh at those jokes. I think I'd be feeling it because, you know, those jokes where they be talking about your old aunt, talking about when you gonna get married, and then you'd be like, when you gonna when you gonna have your funeral, I have my wedding. Yeah, you know, that kind of stuff. Like, listen, man, but I feel it, man, because I mean, are you saying to me, like, when you see me, that's all you see is the fact that I'm single? Like, there's nothing else to me but that? So yeah, obviously you gotta have thick skin and do what you do, but that's a damaging question.
Let me read Erica's question real quick, and then if anybody else want to come off mic, you can. But we don't have to all answer every question because I got a few of them here. Erica says lots of single people go through anxiety just thinking of seeing family members who ask about their relationship status. Anybody want to comment on that?
I was just about to say something like that as well. I think the whole question, the whole premise of the question, I don't even think they even really care, right? They see you, they don't see you with somebody. So it's like saying hello to somebody in the morning. How you doing? Right? And you walk by them, they don't say, "Oh, I'm doing fine. How are you?" It's just something like a reaction. So I think the more they see you, they go, "Oh, they still single. You ain't got nobody yet, girl." Or the time old one. "Oh, you got so big. I remember you was this tall." It's just I think it's just some verbiage that comes out of our mouths and we don't understand the impact that like John was saying, that this has on people, especially women when their whole when part of their worth is wrapped around if you got a man or not. Why don't we teach how singleness is a thing? Like singleness is something that's important. You know what I mean? Like Rick was saying earlier about, if you look at it from a religious aspect, one of the greatest people in the Bible, Paul, he was single. He was single by choice. He made a choice to be single. You know what I mean? Like, why not be single if that's what you want to do? You don't have to have somebody like that. I think as long as you have community and very good friends around you, you don't have to do that. But I think staying in the keeping the question relative, I think that we should start thinking before we ask that question. Like when you see a woman who might be, kind of at a size, you can't just jump and say, "Are you pregnant?" "Oh, congratulations on your pregnancy," because you don't know. Right? You can't, they tell you, if you don't know, don't ask. That's what they say. If you don't know, don't ask. So I look at this same way. This is this single question. If you leave it alone, stop. Especially if you don't know what you're doing to the person you're asking. Stop asking the question. Don't ask the question. Wait till they come and tell you that they tired of being single or they looking for somebody. Just leave it alone. Stop asking the question.
I think when you're dealing with people that are 35, 40 and up, their parents, their aunties, their uncles are still of the age and the generation where they're still affected by those type of beliefs. And if you're of that particular age frame, you got to expect that's going to be a part of the conversations. I don't know if it's something as simple as saying it's just a habit. So it's just something that they say. But in truth, I mean, people are still feeling the weight of being around their family members and them looking at them like, when are you going to get your act together? Being defined by the partner that you're with. Why don't you have a man? Why don't you have a woman? What's the story with you? Is there something going on behind the scenes that we don't know about? I know for myself, I don't think I've ever felt that pressure. Don't think I felt that pressure. But then for myself, I also know that I have that air about me, or that presence, where I'm typically around people that I've helped in some way, shape, or form throughout their life, or spending quality time, or reached out to them. So they don't want to put any type of negative weight on me. Like, how do you say something negative to the happy guy? But I know when I start seeing someone, you'll get those comments like, "I'm just so happy you're happy." So I know they must be thinking something, because when I mention I'm seeing somebody, am I saying right? You can feel like my parents, like, "Hey, you're happy. I can see you're happy." So,
y'all hear that happiness? You hear
I'm
it?
so happy you happy.
So my happiness is different than the happiness that you see now that I'm seeing somebody. But so conversations had to be going on behind the scenes is what I'm trying to say, but they're not bringing it directly to me. But I'm sure for women, it's something that's being brought to them. It's bringing right to their face. Let me say it to you. I don't care how you feel, if you're uncomfortable or not. What's the story with you? But remember, that's based off of the times where women, quote unquote, was still pretty much like property. Remember, women didn't have the right to own a credit card until 1974. If you kind of check it, 1974, you couldn't even own your own credit card if you were a woman. Property owning wasn't that easy. You know, the thing is that, here's this. Nowadays, women want emotional intelligence. So I think part of the hang-up is this, that men who speak about this singleness are men who aren't equipped with being able to express that which they feel on the inside, where they think that here I'm bringing the money to the table, and women are like, no, sorry, I got a job, I own my own company. Matter of fact, I own a few companies, and here's all the money that I make. So once again, I don't need your money, because especially in Black and Latino families, Latin families, those numbers of women who are owning businesses over the last 10 years have skyrocketed. So you're talking, you stepping up to a woman who's got not just a job, a full ownership of a company that's making bank. So now you come to them like, hey, what's up? You got your money. And they're like, how are you talking to me? Wait, how are you supporting me? How are you making me feel safe? What's the words that are coming out your mouth? Can you express how you feel to me? That's a whole different dynamic you're dealing with. A whole different dynamics. Men are like, whoa. You mean I gotta talk about feelings now? I gotta come with more than just I got money? I don't know. What do you say, D. Jones?
I think you're absolutely right. I talk about this a lot, but I do want to test these comments real quick because there are some pertinent ones here. Erica says, I think people don't consider single by choice as an option. They assume there must be a problem if you're single for an extended period of time. Very true. Very true. G says, heck, I'm trying to figure out why I'm still single as well. That's a hard question. And I'm going to butcher this first name, but I'm going to try it. It looks like Verushka Rojas says, I was used
to it. You nailed it.
Thank you, sir. I used to think I was single by choice, and I realized God was working on me, so he kept me single. So, I mean, here's the thing about what Rick just said, which a lot of people, especially men, they get triggered when you say now you have to add something else other than your money. There is a vehement fight to keep things the way they used to be. They call themselves alpha males. And they do not want to have to bring that emotional intelligence and all those other characters that as a human being, we all possess these things. They don't want to have to show that. They don't want to have to pivot and change to show the other parts of them. If you do not measure me by my ability to provide and my money, then I don't want you. If you're not going to be super, what they call submissive and basically bow down, then I won't marry you. And it's insane because we're intelligent enough creatures to understand that everything isn't always going to stay the same. We might want it to. Things change. Technology changes. How we interact with each other changes. The status of women in our society has changed. Do we just sit back and say, you know what? If we don't go, you know what it sounds like as I'm talking? It sounds like, and I don't do this on my show or any other show, but it sounds like Make America Great Again. They want to go back to a time where the women didn't really necessarily have the means or the voice to do whatever. They want to stay there. And if you don't stay there, then you're not a real woman. And it's the silliest thing ever. And I hear it every day. And all it really requires for you is to be a multi-layered human being, as we all are. We're not all, first of all, we're not all rich. We're not all over six figures. So all of those things go out the window when you look at the majority of society. So if you're making $30,000 a year, no matter where you are, you're not rich. So why are you shaming women for not bowing down to your financial prowess? It doesn't make any sense. And y'all need to stop. I'm saying this is Derek's opinion. Y'all need to stop. If if you want to partner with a woman, you need to get with the times, man, and stop playing these games, man. We got to respect the women that are in our communities and our culture and that share the planet with us. Why we fighting like it's crazy, the fighting. But Derek, I'll just land here with this big plane that I just launched.
Hey, Derek, just to springboard off of something that you shared, keep in mind that these opinions, this say if we see the alpha males, some of these men don't come with such deep, you must serve me anger behind it. Some are just cultural norms. Like you go to some cultural habits, like Caribbean habits, you know, a guy expecting the woman to serve the food to him because that's what the cultural norm is.
Very true.
It doesn't have to have such like anger, you need to submit.
Yeah.
It's just like, I'm just used to, this is what my mom did for my dad, and this is what you see. The men at the table sit down, and the girls or the women come and they bring the food to the table. So also keep in mind that not all of it comes with this alpha male anger.
You're right.
It comes with just what you're used to seeing in your society, and you just think that like this is okay. But it's still some elements of, if you're serving me, will I still be able to share that which I think is right for me as a man and still feel like a man?
Yeah.
You know, because remember, once again, just like a man will take this position of, I want certain things a particular way, women will adapt those same beliefs. And if a man isn't that same way, they call him soft, they call him weak, they call him gay, all these other things, all these things.
Yep. I know that
come into play. You're like, what are you talking about? So how do you expect to fall in love with someone if you're not really going to be vulnerable?
Yeah.
So how are you fall in love with someone without vulnerability, without a guy telling his inner feelings? But men don't have a safe place to speak about that stuff to this day. You know, we are this odd group of guys. There's 5 guys of the Real Shop Talk, where we're willing to lay it all out on the line and talk about our feelings and talk about the things that we've been through openly, with the hopes that people understand that men feel the same way as you, but culturally we just haven't had the platforms to speak about it freely.
Yeah.
You know, we just don't have those platforms.
Yeah. And I do want to go ahead, Tony.
Well said, Rick. Well said. I just want to put it here. So I saw something the other day. A young lady has an Instagram page where she does interior design. She's almost construction, and she kind of tore down the wall in her house and rebuilt it by herself. So if you marry a woman like that, right? Are you less masculine because she can build a wall and you can't? She can lay some sheetrock and use the leveler and that's not your forte? Are you less masculine because she can do that? Like Rick's, like we've all said across the board already. Put those ideas down and go build the table with the young lady that you find.
So, and I also, Rick, when you talked about culture, and I may be right or wrong, so somebody can correct me, but it's a lot of other cultures when we talked about marriage pressure. Like, we think that we know what that pressure is. In some cultures where you reach a certain age, it's a problem. Like, it's a real problem. You can't even step into a room with a bunch of family members without catching it. So, and you better do it soon. Go ahead, Rick. I see you.
No, yeah, but that's the truth. Like, you know, we're expounding outside of people of color, just like you Latinos, Greek. You not married at woo, you feeling some real heat from that culture. If you're not joining forces already, where's your man? Where's your woman? What's up with that? Yeah. So it's, like I said, it all depends on what your cultural norm is. And the years of me studying to better understand human habits and relationships, I discovered that there's some real pressures that come along with, like, say if you're Haitian, Haitian and you're not married? What? You 30-something, you 40-something, and you ain't, no, that's some real heat. That's some real heat you're getting from the family. But what we're trying to say, here's what we're all trying to say. Get to the place where you're not looking for someone to serve you. I believe it was John who said that. You're not looking for someone to serve you, but you're looking to serve. I think maybe it was Tony Watts who said that. You're looking to serve. And if your mindset is to serve and their mindset is to serve, you're going to find out what works with her, what's her dominant thing. She's going to find out what's your dominant thing as a guy. And you kind of just find out your own place and space to operate from. You know, why do these characteristics have to be women? Why do these characteristics have to be a man thing? Some things might just have to be, but why? Why? You work out with your partner what's right for you. You discuss it. It's loving obedience with the deliberate decision to find out what works for you in your relationship, and then you move with that.
Yeah. Sorry, I was blocking that user. So here we go. We're gonna go here next. And these are random, right? There's no order to these. Here's a question. I'm gonna start with Tony Watts on this one. Well, actually, no, let me not do that. Anybody who wants to come on, Mike. No, we are gonna start with Tony
He coming
Watts.
for you, Tony Watts. He coming for you.
Because I know it'll elicit a thought in all of us. But here's a notion that we've heard for years and years and years. Do we believe this is true? And what's your opinion on this statement? Do people change after they get married? Anybody can answer, because this is the notion. People say, I won't get married because if I do, then the person will change. What's your thoughts?
For the people who have that thought process, I would say, are you the same person you were when you were 16? Are you the same person you are when you were 25? Are you the same person you are when you were 30? So if you think that the person you met, let's say at 25, you guys fell in love, you guys had a grandiose time with whoever personality that person was at the time. If you think that person is not going to change from experience of life and experience with you, then I don't know what to tell you, boo, because people change. People have to change. They change for environment. They change for work. They change for things they've dealt with their parents, the way they were raised. If it was a traumatic situation, I hate using that word so much. If they went through something and they haven't figured out how to let it go, and you help them let it go, it's now a changed person, because they're not in that environment that they're scared. Like, okay, I'm using this analogy. So you meet somebody who's afraid to really talk and express themselves to you, right? Because they grew up in a household where you couldn't talk, and they thought that they'd get beat up if they opened their mouths. So you coach them through, I want you to be open and honest at all times, and we can talk about anything. And they get to a point where they're expressing themselves, that is now a changed person. It's growth. Marriage is about growth. You can't stay in the same situation, the same place you were when you got married. It does not work. Somebody's going to outgrow the other person.
Does anyone want to go before I go again?
No, it's all you. Go ahead, man. It's your show too. Go ahead, get it in.
No, once again, I believe that change is never a problem with people. Change is not the problem with what they're talking about. Change is a constant. We're always in a state of change. So the only thing they're speaking about is the people who's going to rage against the change that's naturally occurring. Who's raging against the change that is naturally occurring in the relationship? Where you think that things are going to remain the same is a problem. Because as you grow, as you gain more information from each other, you're naturally going to conform to the thing that you believe is right for the other person. They're going to conform to the thing that's right for you. The problem that we should be talking about is, are you yourself? Are you your real self in relationships where you don't have to worry about things changing? Have you been so brave enough in your relationship to live your truth that when situations come to a point where let's be together forever, that you know that you led the groundwork of being your authentic self or your true self, that person is well informed with the person that you are? Or is that person, or are you now feeling the pressure that you now have to continue to play the role that you laid down as the foundation that really wasn't true to you, that wasn't right for you? And now you're wondering, when would I ever get to let this go? Did you go into the relationship being your true self? Because that's what the conversation really sounds like to me, that you put down a foundation that you can't stick to. And now the pressure of being together forever means that you have to keep that storyline going. You can't let that go because you laid a poor foundation. That's why I teach over and over again the love of self and the importance of living your truth in the early part of your relationship, so you don't have to live up something that's not right for you. Live up and live out something that's not right for you.
So when we talk about this fear of change too, in some cases, totally agree with the OG and agree with Gunner Man, but in some cases also that change is a trauma response. And it's a specific type of change that a person may be talking about. And they may not be referencing evolutionary change that happens over the course of, let me talk, LJ. I know you're excited. Let me talk. Let me say something. But, they might be talking about, they were in a situation where somebody changed the way they were moving in a way that was hurtful. And so their trauma response is, I'm afraid to get in a relationship because they'll change in the way that they ride for me. They'll change in the way that they're consistent in showing their love. They'll change in the way that they prioritize the safety and the health of the relationship. Y'all hear that, man? They coming to get me. They found me. And so a lot of times it's a trauma response, because it's absolutely true that, we change, and the challenge is to be actively changing together. It may happen at different, paces, but we need to be evolving and changing. Like Gunner Man said, shame on me Tony Watt said that, shame on me if I'm the same as I was last year, or the same as I was back in 2015 or 2000. Like, we should be evolving, but a lot of times it's that trauma response. And so that control that they're seeking is, if I can keep things the way that I feel safe, then I won't be exposed to that hurt. But we all know that if you're going to be in a relationship, if you're going to experience love, it's going to take vulnerability, and vulnerability leaves you open to the possibility of suffering. It just is what it is.
So I'm going to I'm gonna frame the rest of this show a certain way. I wanted this next topic, because y'all I'm not even gonna add my point. Y'all said everything that I was gonna say. So we're gonna move right along in the interest of time. I have this next section that we're going to talk about, and then I want to then pivot into what we think some of the pros are of being in a healthy marriage, and what are some of the pros of choosing to be single. Because I think we can talk about why people don't want to get married. We can talk about, people needing to heal and do all this other stuff, but I want to also bring in a little element of what are some of the benefits to being married, because there's a lot of people out here that think that number is zero. And we've all on this panel have been divorced before, so we can talk about what the pros would be in a healthy situation versus there not being any. This is the narrative. There are no benefits, so why ever do it? And I'm not here to push anybody in any direction, but I think we need to talk about what it looks like when it's good. And that good can last a lifetime if, you have some things in place. And that's why Gunter Man and I, we do things with relationship coaching and stuff like that to kind of give you tools to take along the path. So we're going to go to this next topic, and then we're going to go there. So the next topic is, and I'm going to put two questions together, and I'm sure Tony Watts will love this one. It's about statistics. So, so there's a school of thought out here that says I will never get married because the statistics aren't in my favor. Look at the number of divorces out there. Look at, I think that the thing is one in 4 Black women will ever get married. It's all of these statistics. And because of that, I'm just not even going to participate. The second part of this question is to couple with that because we have statistics that have been polled, but then we all keep our own internal statistics, right? Based on our environment and our family. So there are people that say, I won't ever get married because I never saw a good one. And so that is my bar and I will never participate. So technically we're still talking about statistics in a way as the reason why you won't participate. And so I want you guys to speak to your opinion or your reaction to hearing when somebody says, I will never do it because look at what happened to so-and-so, or the statistics say in the United States that this percentage of people are going to get divorced. So the odds aren't in my favor, so I won't participate. So anybody can take that.
I would go back to the saying of if your friend jumped off the bridge, would you jump off the bridge too? Because you are listening to things that you haven't partaken in yourself to understand what it is. Like you don't know if your relationship is going to not work. I guess that goes back to the saying, if you believe you can, if you believe you can't, you're right. So if your whole mindset is the relationship is not going to work, then it's not going to work. All you're going to do is spend your time looking for something to be wrong. 8 girls cheated on me before I found this girl. So all I'm looking for is her to cheat on me. The day she comes home at 5:05 instead of 4:48, oh, she was out cheating. Like, it's not that, hey, there was traffic, because I'm looking for something, right? And we talk about this all the time, across the board. We have to stop looking at statistics, because statistics can be manipulated any way we want them to look. Whoever's playing with the numbers, make the statistics work. Like when I did this show with you guys, 50% of marriages work. So I had people on my panel that were married, that were having successful marriages. And they all said across the board, this marriage thing is work. So you can't, what I did in that framework, I took away all of the 50% that didn't work. I had Black couples on that had successful marriages. But listening to statistics only, you think there weren't any out there. So you gotta get your hands dirty. You gotta do the work on yourself. And that is the problem. You have to do the work on yourself. You have to go into a relationship with no preconceived notions, do the work that you need to do, and then get into something with somebody free of all the baggage that you used to have to try to move forward. I think this is an amazing question, but this whole narrative of the house is burning, and it's not. just take the pot off the oven. Like this, it's not. It's the pot's burning. The house is not burning. So, gosh, I'll land there.
I'll jump in real quick, Rick. I see you about to push, but I'll be real quick. This to me, and I guess it lends itself to my mindset as well, but there's so many things in our lives that we push forward to do, even though the statistics are not in our favor. And we don't bat our eyes at it at all. Go to your local convenience store and look at the lottery line. Like, go to a casino, right? We don't bat our eyes at the statistics then. Graduating from high school, graduating from college. There's so many areas of our lives where we push against the statistics, but when it comes to this, there may be some traumas. There may be, you might have families that have divorces, but and friends and all of that stuff, but that does not dictate your path. It never will. This is a life lesson. You got to run your race. If you just like and I always bring this up because it stuck with me for so long from that movie Higher Learning, where he said You know, if you find somebody that's running faster, you run your race. You don't look to your left or your right because it's going to slow you down. You just got to keep going. So do you. I'm going to just say those words. Do you. Handle your business. Vet your people that you're encountering. Do what you got to do. You know, to work on yourself, heal, do all of that. But run your race. Nobody's life, whether it's your mommy and your daddy, your cousin, your auntie, your best friend, they don't dictate what you are capable of. So I'm going to land there, and anybody else can come off a mic.
All right, John, I see you. You want to go first, bro? It's hard not to be swayed by what you see around you. It's hard not to be swayed by your experience. It's hard not to take the pains of the past and go into the future thinking that the outcome is already going to be determined. What helps with all that is finding the happiness in your now. It's being of the mindset that if you are thinking about joining yourself to someone else, how about getting to the place where you're already filled with joy about the life you're living, where you're already happy and peaceful and successful in manners, where you're not looking for love or joy, peace, and happiness from another human being, because no human being can be that for someone else. So often we venture into these relationships hoping that life gets better, you know, and better for a lot of people just means good, but where life should be already good for you. And then it gets better, making the good is the word we say gooder. Make the good gooder. Let's make it gooder. You know, that's probably our biggest stumbling point. You know, it's hard not to carry that into, but we have to remind ourselves that our past should not determine our future. It shouldn't determine our future. You know, when you work with statistics, you know, you have people who are afraid of flying because they think it's going to crash, you know, but if you're willing to be that same person to get into a car and go driving, the statistics are absolutely insane. Then you will never, if you work it off of that platform, you will never, ever get into a car because the statistics are off the chart compared to plane crashes, compared to car crashes. So the question is this: how do you grab your mind and push forward when all the noise is telling you something else? You find your people. Find your people. Find the people that are living the thing that you want to live. Ask questions from people who are doing it successfully, and then dare to ask people who didn't do it successfully. Gain the information that is needed so you can go forward ready, well equipped. Now, there's a whole lot of stuff in relationships you don't know until you're in it. But if you're already in a place of happiness, if you're already in a place of peace, if you're already financially sound because you are living your life to the fullest, you are walking out there chasing after your calling, your purpose, and you're seeing the victories, it's easy to add someone to your life. It's easy to take them on and allow them just to be themselves. And if they can be themselves, you can be yourselves. That's the catch. When you mess up all that and then you try to make someone do something or be something for you, or you're looking for that happiness or you to be my financial soundness once you come into my life, that's way more than a person can deal with. And I think that's why the numbers of divorce have gone up compared to like the times, say, our parents or our parents' parents, because you got married back then for a part of a convenience. You know, that's part of a convenience. It was kind of like a woman needed to have a guy with them so she could do what she do, because that's how society was built. And then my parents' culture was the kind of like, you know, we stayed together because life is better together, whether we like each other or not. You know, and that's why we talk about nowadays, like, it's not all about the loving the person, it's about liking the person. You guys heard that before. It's not about loving that person, it's about liking that person. Can you get into a relationship where you like that, actually like the person? So I think when you equip yourself and you are yourself and you are going into a relationship more sound, where you stand and how life feels for you, marriage becomes so much more sweeter. You're telling me that you wouldn't want to have someone point out your blind spots in life, to allow you to increase that which you're endeavoring to do to the umpteenth power, because not only do you have your own insight, but you have the insight of another person. Oh, you don't know, no. And then someone that allows you to see the greatness inside you and remind you about the greatness inside you when you feel a little bit down, because we all feel a little bit down. Are you kidding me? You telling me you won't want that? One of the reasons why marriage fails so much, because it's the number one tool in defeating the adversary. The number one tool in defeating the adversary is marriage, because marriage is a unit that can beat up any given situation that he can send your way, because you got someone that has your back spiritually. Soundness, spiritual soundness in life, love, living, relationship, connection, building a business, being the better version of yourself. He's going to point out, babe, you're comparing yourself again to that situation. Why are you doing it? You're already amazing. You're a different person than that person. You need someone in your life to point those things out. Starting to date and you kind of taking on information, it's a beautiful thing to be able to, someone point stuff out to you. You're like, wow, I never even thought of it that way. And then you start taking on these new habits that don't make you less of a person or make you less yourself. It makes you the better version of yourself. Because the stuff that you're taking on is pointing out how to go after those things that you truly desire, that they heard you mention, and they're like, why aren't you going after it? Well, if you don't know how to go after it, let's find out together how to go after it. And let's go after it. Who wouldn't want that? Who wouldn't want that? Now, for those who are single and want to stay single, there's a great blessing in that too. Because now you only have you and God to run with. You don't have a responsibility for anyone else to take care of the things that need to be taken care of in your life. And that's a beautiful way to be. That's a beautiful place to be, where you're only responsible for you, endeavoring to take on life and take on love and serving the world around you and stuff. That's a beautiful place to be. But what if you can have someone else helping you journey? Now that's a beautiful and wonderful and exceptional place to be.
All right, we're gonna pass the collection plate around.
Oh, y'all gonna love how I land this plane after John go. Watch what I do.
Hey, man, real quick, it's simple. Well, no, let me take that out. It's not simple. Statistics tell the story that the person presenting the statistics want to be told. You know what I mean? Like, let's say I take 10 people and I put 2 people in a great position. I put the other 8 in a terrible position. But then I come back and say the statistics say 8 out of 10 people can't make it. But I put 8 of them in a real bad position. So, what are the statistics really saying? And, like Tony Watts was saying, man, when we go lottery, now that, man, we don't care nothing about no statistics, because, man, I'll be over at the MGM Grand, man. I'm mad at the Bengals, man. Took all that money from me, man, But no, like, really, I think it's important to ask yourself the question, what is the information you're trying to get from the statistics? Because if you're using the statistics to make that decision, then there might be something inside of you. Like, if something I really don't want to do, then I say, you know what? 6 out of 10, it don't happen. But if I'm serious about it, it could be 99 out of 100 don't make it. But I'm like, I'm trying to do it. So you just got to ask yourself, the statistics aren't really making a difference. There's something in your heart that's making a difference. And you're using statistics to justify something that you're feeling already inside of you.
Right. Y'all ready? So the last 2 questions were going to be, what was the benefits of being married and what was the benefits of being single? Y'all know where I'm going? Gunter Man just did it. So what I want to do now is we're gonna land our big jumbo jet right now, because unbeknownst to the audience, we were aiming at landing at this plane at an hour, and I think we did it without even knowing. So what I want to do is I want to go around the room, and if anybody have any last statements about married, single, people who make either choice, whatever, go ahead and do it. If you don't, then we can land the plane. Go ahead.
Remember, we have all been designed to connect. And the question is, if you're having these feelings, whether it's marriage or whether it be remain single, dare to share your feelings with someone that has the ability to kind of play neutral with you and to share their aspects about what is the true version of you, what really benefits the things that are coming out your mouth, the things that sway you in a particular way. What I'm saying is that share your feelings with someone who can inform you to see your picture wider, brighter, bigger, greater. So you now have the opportunity to say, this is really what's right for me. This is really what's right for me. You know, whether it be a therapist, whether it be a relationship life coach, the question is, when you're feeling the way you feel, don't simply just go to social media to answer your questions or to YouTube. Speak to human beings, ask the questions, ask someone, how do I show up in friendship? Start there. How do I show up in friendship? How am I as a friend? Can you actually be able to take on a relationship? I think you can, with any type of sitting and talking and discussing and finding out what's the best version of you to show up in. Lastly, we're all designed to serve people. That's our heart. Our heart is to be out there and look for success, not only for ourselves, but look for success other people. Why don't you simply just start sharing your story with people in the place and space with the hopes that your story can help someone. Helping someone allows open doors of new information to be flooded into your own life. Finding success for yourself is admirable, but helping someone else find success, that's amazing.
Now let me jump in so the OG could close it out, man. Man, I mean, again, Gunner Man coming in here like the closer, man. He just closing, like, yo, leave some meat on the bone. You know what I'm saying? But again, man, it's an individual choice, man. Do what's good for your life and be able to do that without disrespecting anybody else's choices. There's no need to disrespect anybody else's choices. So that's all I have to say. I mean, for them that marriage is the best for, then marriage is the best for them. For them that being single is the best for, then for them being single is the best for them. But shameless plug, man. Monday nights is the Real Shop Talk. Tuesday night, the Help Myself Podcast Remix. Wednesday night, Relationship Gumbo. Thursday night, it's the Gunner Man Show. And Saturday night, Triumphant TV, Triumphant Media Group with Tony Watts. We taking over. Tap in. Out.
Yes, big little bro. Yes. So to make this as brief as possible, I would just offer to those who are single and you are afraid of a relationship, right? I think Rick said it about social media. When you run to social media and you're consuming this stuff, right? Because the algorithm is going to continue to give you that stuff. Cut it off. Take a fast. Find out who you are. Seek out someone, from a counselor, from a life coach, just to ask some questions. What am I? This is what I really want. I'm afraid. I've been hurt. I've been hurt 4 or 5 times, and I'm really afraid to go out there. It just seems like no one wants to do this with the same thing I want to do. We all say all the time, you will find your tribe. Your tribe is out there. Your tribe is out there. And if you're following us, you know the tribe is growing, just growing quickly too. So I would just behoove you to kind of stay away from social media and anything that brings that negative aspect of what a relationship should look like, according to those people. I would stay away from that for a while. Take a deep dive into yourself, figure out what you really want, and get a journal. We talk about it all the time. Kalicia's team got a whole bunch of incredible journals, helloblackman.com, and you can find any journal you want. And start asking yourselves the questions. Why am I afraid of relationships? Why am I hurt? What happened? And when you start breaking these things down for yourself, first, right? Start, and then find somebody to help, like Rick said, find somebody to help you work through some of this stuff. Because we have this, in this society today, we have this whole thing that, oh, I can do it. I'm going to look within. Those people who are looking within also have somebody without. Every successful psychiatrist, therapist has someone else they talk to. It's not an individual. Rick said it earlier. God did not create us to be individualized, to be separate. It's a communal work. It is a communal work. And I've read several books over the last couple of months. And what I'm finding out, our brains get wired a certain way from trauma and not having certain experiences with our parents that last with us into our 30s, 40s, and 50s until we deal with it. So there's some things that we have to deal with, right? And that's one of the reasons why I feel it important to build a community, because there's some things that we need to deal with before we can move on and be as great as we can. So I'm just offering you to be the greatest self you can be. Dig into yourself, find out what's going on. You got two powerful relationship coaches right here. I'll be doing mine in probably May. So you got people you can turn to that's going to help you out. So let's just find yourself before you go out here, and don't listen to the noise. It's just noise.
Yeah, and I'll just kind of piggyback on what Tony just said. Is always strive to just show up as the best version of yourself, and know that there are some amazing people out here on the planet. Whether your connections are romantic or not, do not stifle yourself from being open to meeting people and still working on yourself. While you're working on yourself, meet people, commune with people, engage with people, collaborate with people, and you will be surprised the magic that happens when you aren't looking so hard, when you aren't thinking so hard, when you aren't focusing so much on the things that have happened before, and you're just out in this universe and out in public and just putting yourself in environments where you can share communal spaces and meet people and go to different events, and there's magic that happens. This, what you see on this screen, is magic. We didn't even meet each other in person, but we were open to. Here's the real talk, and we're gonna get out of here. I got you, Gunter Man. Here's the thing. We had to be open to this process in order for this to work. And it was not easy for each one of us internally to dive into this, but we made a point to be open to the process. And your goal should be, no matter what you've been through, to be open to meeting new people and having new experiences. And that thing that you may have been searching for the past decade may just magically happen one day just because you decided to go outside. So I'm going to land there, right? I'm going to land there. And again, if you are not subscribed to the YouTube page, make sure you do that. The website is scrolling down at the bottom, realshoptalk.net. Go there, hit everything. Go just click on everything you see and see what happens. Subscribe, click the bell. Click the thumbs up tonight. Make sure you click that. If you liked what you heard, click the thumbs up. I only see 3. I need to see more. Get that in. And come back next week. What are we doing next week? I believe next week we're doing the Tony Massey tribute.
Tony Massey, yes, and sir.
We're doing the Tony Massey tribute. So if y'all have seen the last 2 tribute shows, they're good, man. I need for y'all to bring y'all folks. Tony Massey show coming up next week, and we're gonna celebrate our brother, and y'all just keep coming back in general, man. We got some good stuff coming up, as always. And if y'all need to hit us up or DM, ask a question, whatever, all of our profiles are on the page, and keep coming back, man. Bring a friend, bring your +5, and we'll see you next week. On that note, anybody got anything they need to plug coming up? We're going to get out of here. All right, guys. We will see y'all next week. Same time, same place. Have a great evening.